Hi, welcome to Infodumpies. My name's Brianne. I'm autistic, I have ADHD, my pronouns are she, her, and supposedly, like, irregardless of what anyone has said pacifically, this episode of the podcast is going to start.
Hi, my name's Violet. My pronouns are she, her. I have ADHD. And I've recently been told that I'm the very pineapple of politeness. But I know that can be a bit of an acclimated taste. So, yeah.
Yes. All of that makes sense.
Yeah, I've been told both that I am both the pineapple of politeness. You know, I don't want to be taken for granted. So,
Taken for granted.
I like doing words bad on purpose. And I know you do too. We both do that.
Yeah, if anybody listens to our other podcast, I like doing words wrong on purpose so often. I have a character that I voice who does words wrong on purpose because she thinks it's funny.
Yeah. There are a lot of different ways to do that, and a lot of them have names. Some of them are specific to, like, people that are famous and, like...
Are you talking about malapropisms today?
I'm talking about malapropisms. I'm talking about malaphors. I'm talking about dogberryisms. I'm talking about...
And then we're going to make like a baby and split.
Yeah, that's kind of what I had in mind, is that we would make we'd put the tiger on the table and yell at it.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about generonyms. I want to talk about...
I don't know this one.
Oh.
Linguistics degree doesn't know this one.
You will when I tell you about it. I think you just don't know the term for it.
Okay, maybe there's actually a different term.
Possibly. The one that I found was generonym, but you'll see. There's yogisms. There's eggcorns.
I love an eggcorn.
There's mondegreens.
Mondegreens? Oh, there's a lot of words I don't know.
Oh yeah, and then
you're gonna teach me stuff my linguistics degree didn't.
Yeah, I started going down the rabbit hole for this, and I realized I had so much to talk about. It needed to be a full episode, not a mini dump. Because originally this was just going to be a mini dump about malaphors and malapropisms. And I was like, whoa, this goes deep. But yeah, I also obviously talking about malaphors, which is a little less official of a thing, by the way. So, but we'll get to that. That's kind of the last topic there. But I have a lot of examples of all of these, so it's going to be very fun. And I actually have a little quiz at one point when we get to the generonyms. It's going to be very good. So, a malapropism, also called a malaprop, I'm not sure if it's acrologia or acyrologia. I saw it spelled both ways, but one of them may have been a typo. Acyrologia or acrylologia, which ironically is a bit a type of a malapropism of a sort.
Yeah,
of its own,
fun.
Which I think is really funny that someone did that, possibly by accident. So I don't actually know how to spell that particular term.
Yeah.
There's also another term for a malapropism, which is dogberryism.
A dogberryism?
Oh yeah, you know where that comes from?
No, I'm begging for you to tell me.
That comes from Constable Dogberry. So the play Much Ado About Nothing.
All of that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Because Shakespeare also thought these were funny.
Yes, he's that good boy. He shook his spear so good. So Shakespeare, he made this funky little play called Much Ado About Nothing, and there's a character in that named Constable Dogberry, and Constable Dogberry is basically played to be an idiot. He's comic relief, and he very often will use words wrong. I have an example from Act 3, Scene 5 of Much Ado About Nothing. Constable Dogberry says, and he's a constable, so of course there's guardsmen.
And I want to say, a malapropism doesn't mean that your intent has to be doing it on purpose.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I want to clarify.
I skipped over the definition.
Yes.
Yeah, I skipped over the definition. Yes. My bad. So, a malapropism is the incorrect use of a word in place of a word with a similar sound, either unintentionally or for comedic effect, resulting in a nonsensical, often humorous utterance.
Mm-hmm.
There are a whole ton of examples of these. Some of the oldest that we know about of this happening come back to William Shakespeare. He was somebody that had very frequently used this as a literary device to show foolishness or comedic effect in his characters. There's a quote from Act 3, Scene 5 of Much Ado About Nothing, where he says, "Our watch, my lord, have indeed comprehended two auspicious persons, and we would have them this morning examined before your worship." Clearly comprehended, he meant apprehended.
Yeah.
And then auspicious, he meant suspicious. And auspicious actually means like a wealthy or successful person. So it's particularly silly to use that in that instance, but it's a really good malapropism. There's another example where the name actually comes from itself. The more common use of the name malapropism actually comes from a play in 1775 called The Rivals, written by Richard Brinsley Sheridan. And there's a character in this play named Mrs. Malaprop.
Yes. Yes. Okay, I'm remembering this.
Yeah. The name malaprop is a reference to the French phrase mal à propos, which means poorly placed. Mrs. Malaprop frequently misspeaks to comedic effect, very much like Dogberry. And that what I referenced in my intro there, the quote, "She was the very pineapple of politeness," is a quote from Mrs. Malaprop in The Rivals. And she also at one point says it's an acclimated taste. I've got a whole bunch of examples of malapropisms here, which are very, very good. Some of these, one of my favorite types of malapropisms is when it's a political figure giving a speech and they say something wrong and it's very funny.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you one guess as to a famous person who is certainly on that list of political figures who have said malapropisms. Would you care to guess? And I know you're going to be correct.
Well, I'm probably thinking of a different one than you're thinking of.
Possibly.
I'm thinking of John F. Kennedy in German when he said "Ich bin ein Berliner," and a Berliner, if I remember correctly, is a pastry.
Well, that's good. That's not what I was thinking of. I was thinking of George W. Bush, who has 2 entries on this list.
A Brazilian.
That's not even one of the ones on my list. But yeah, we'll get to that. So, taken for granted, granite, like the stone, instead of taken for granted. Very funny. Gib Lewis, who is, was, I don't actually know. I didn't bother to look this up because they're from Texas. Texas Speaker of the House said, "This is unparalleled in the state's history," during a speech. He meant unparalleled.
Okay, yeah. Way to go, Texas.
Yeah. Good old Dan Quayle. He was a vice president. He said, "Republicans understand the importance of bondage between a mother and child."
Oh, no! Oh,
the importance of bondage.
No.
My God. President George W. Bush said, "I'm surprised, frankly, at the amount of distrust that exists in this town, and I'm sorry it's the case. I'll work hard to try to elevate it." He meant alleviate.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Texas Governor Rick Perry.
Sam, no, you said it right.
Yeah, I said it right. Sorry.
Fucking cock and balls shithead motherfucker Perry.
Yeah. Cuck Perry. Rick Perry. He said, "States are the lavatories of innovation."
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's how he treated Texas.
Laboratories is what he meant to say. Or possibly not. Maybe he's just a shithead.
That one might have been a Freudian slip.
Honestly. Thomas Menino, the mayor of Boston, said he was a man of great stature.
Okay.
Yeah. And then this is one of my favorites. Richard Daley, the mayor of Chicago, said, "The police are not here to create disorder. They're here to preserve disorder."
Accurate.
He meant preserve order.
Yeah. No, he was right. Yeah, he accidentally fired there for a minute.
Honestly, yeah, he went off and didn't even mean to. One of my favorites is the classic, "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you can't get fooled again."
That's so good. It's so good.
Which
I say that one.
I say it all the time.
For fun.
And you know what's even funnier? That we quote, we're saying it wrong. We're doing a malapropism when we say that. Yeah.
It's a double one. Enter the Matrix.
Yeah.
Boot me.
I watched the video. His actual quote is, "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me, you can't get fooled again." Just 2 big pauses there. There are all sorts of other types of ways that we, go about these things. And sometimes it ends up, resulting in new words. Sometimes
new phrases people use too.
New phrases. A neologism is a newly formed word, term, or phrase that has achieved popular recognition or common use. there are a lot of examples of neologisms, and as you can imagine, when a word is a neologism for long enough, it gets added to a dictionary and stops being a neologism. It just is a word. So I kept this list fairly brief just to give you kind of the idea. So FOMO, fear of missing out, is an acronym. People just started saying FOMO, and so now FOMO is a word of its own. It's a neologism. It was created whole cloth.
Toilet.
Skibbity toilet. Honestly, it's kind of the meaning is a little, but it is a neologism. Hangry is a neologism. Selfie, noob, chillax, riz, staycation. A lot of times we refer to things as just a slang term for something. A lot of those are just neologisms. So,
yep.
Yeah. Moving on.
I have a few favorite malapropisms that I have gotten from drag queens that I was sharing with you from Drag Race, where one of my favorites, and I forget what queen it was, instead of saying, so your wild oats, said, I'm feeling my oats. So feeling my oats has become the thing I love. And then I believe it was the drag queen Pearl who wanted to say laissez-faire and said flazé-da. So flazé-da is also a really good one I like.
So I think the latter would actually be an eggcorn. And
That's right. That would be an eggcorn.
The first one would be a malaphor.
That would be a malaphor because it's a metaphor of sowing your oats. Yeah.
But it's still good, honestly. Like all of them.
They're all good.
They're all good. After neologisms, there are generonyms. These are, you're going to know what this is when I tell you what it is. You'll be like, oh, yeah. So a generonym is a brand name or word that has become the generic term for that product.
Xerox, Kleenex, Band-Aid.
Yeah, exactly. And those are on my list. I've got a little quiz here that gets progressively tougher. What is the generonym for tissue?
Kleenex.
Generonym for painkillers?
Advil.
Close.
Tylenol. Aspirin?
One more guess. Aspirin. Yes, aspirin is the aspirin is very often used just as a general term to refer to painkillers of any kind.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think being the child of two doctors, that one did not hit my house. Everyone was extremely specific about what to take.
I was going to say, yeah.
Because I'll tell you, did you take some meds for your headache? And you're like, yeah. I'm like, which ones? And you're like, oh, the white ones.
Yeah. I think you honestly, you hit the nail on the table. And you really, because of your medical upbringing, I think maybe that one doesn't necessarily apply to you, but here's one that might throw you for a loop. What is the generic term, non-generonym, for a laundromat? Laundromat is a brand name.
Is it like coin wash?
It's laundry.
Washatorium?
It's laundry.
It's just like a bakery? Laundry?
It's like a bakery. It's a laundry.
It doesn't, but they all have really cool names like Washatorium or
all brand names.
Clean and Dry. And
yeah, laundrette.
It's so boring.
Yep, exactly. Which is why people started calling it a laundromat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like an automat. Well, that's the thing. It is like an automat, which used to be a thing that existed. And people said, it's like an automat, but with laundry. We'll call it a laundromat. And I thought that's how that happened. I didn't know that was a brand.
It's a brand name,
wow.
Yeah. I've got a few of those on here. You already said this one. A generonym for a bandage is a Band-Aid. A generonym for...
I have a random fact about Band-Aids. Do you know who wrote that theme song, I Am Stuck on a Band-Aid Ranks, a Band-Aid Stuck on Me?
Copyright. That's ours now? No, I don't.
Barry fucking Manilow. He did. Absolute king. I unironically think he's great. Anyway, continue.
I don't know why that's so funny to me, but just the idea of Barry Manilow behind a keyboard going, man, I got to get this Band-Aid thing right.
Yeah, I got to get this Band-Aid thing right, or they won't buy Copacabana.
Barry Manilow's greatest hits, number one, the Band-Aid
He had a couple other jingles he did that were popular jingles. I forget. But anyway, the Band-Aid made me think of it. Continue.
Generonym for a food container.
I know it's not a Tupperware. I know that's the brand name.
No, I'm asking you what the generonym is.
The generonym? A Tupperware. Sorry. Yeah, I was thinking of there's another name for these other than a food container.
No, not the food containers.
What do you mean? Is it just going to be a food tree?
Box.
A box. A food box? Can I get a...
Can I get a box?
Can I get a
You can't see right now because we're in an audio medium and I'm a goofball, but
I'm clapping.
Yeah.
I made sure they got the Foley work for that.
Oh yeah. We're both doing the motion of like a box closing that people do, white people do when they have food.
White people when you're at a restaurant and you need it to go box, you just go, can I get a... thank you.
Hook and loop tape. What is the generonym?
Velcro.
Yep. Here's one that's going to fuck you up. I feel like it's really going to throw you for a loop.
Oh no.
Generonym for cereal. It is something that is cereal.
People don't just call it Cheerios? Cornflakes? Are some people out here just calling all of them cornflakes?
This one, you got to think a little bit outside the cereal box. So this
Porridge? That's not a brand name.
This is something that people will eat sometimes dry, sometimes with a milk. Cereal is the generic term for it, but people will often refer to cereals by this name. Would you like a hint?
I would love a hint.
It is often associated with hiking and hippies.
Granola?
Granola is a brand name.
I knew granola was a brand name, actually.
Yeah. Granola is a brand name of cereal.
And people call it all granola, but it's not.
So people don't call everything. So all cereals are not all cereals are granola, but some are.
I know.
So
but some are, but the fact that it would be a generonym where someone's just like, my bowl of granola, my Frosted Flakes, like, fuck off.
Yeah. There was an advertisement back in like the early 1900s for granola brand cereal, and it was just granola as we know it.
So I remember hearing about granola brand cereal, and I don't recall what the original suggested name was, but I remember there was a name before granola that was suggested that was just like, why did you think people will want to eat a thing named that? And I forget what it was called, but I knew it was a brand name because I'd heard something recently. But I can't imagine people just calling any old cereal thing granola.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. What is the generonym for a moving staircase? You probably know this one.
Escalator? Escalator's a brand?
Escalator's a brand name. Yeah. It's kind of wild, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The generic term for an escalator is moving staircase or people mover. Yeah.
I call the people mover the thing that doesn't move you vertically. It moves you horizontally at the airport.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, same. That's what I call a people mover, is like at the airport.
Technically, that also applies to the diagonal.
Both?
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
Not a vertical. Elevators are elevators, but escalators are a brand name. It's so silly. What is the generic term for a zipper? Because zipper is a brand name. I think you knew that.
I did. I had a friend whose special interest is like textile stuff send me a bunch of stuff about early zipper drama and how YKK stole it from Talon. And I don't... Tooth and pull and tooth and Lincoln tooth ain't Lincoln's tooth.
So there's two possible answers here that are interchangeable. There is a slide clasp, but the more common one is a clasp locker, also bad, which is why people just call them zippers.
Yeah, it doesn't clasp anything though.
It does zip things though.
It does zip things together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's wild. This one, when I was making this, it felt kind of difficult, maybe less so now. What is the generonym for a flying disc toy?
A frisbee.
A frisbee, exactly, yeah. I didn't realize that a frisbee was a brand name when I was making this. Yeah. And in hindsight, it seems kind of obvious now, but yeah, frisbee is a brand name.
I believe I knew that because I believe there's an episode of Wonderful where Griffin McElroy talks about frisbees. Or it might have been Rachel McElroy. Anyway, I think there's an episode of Wonderful about frisbees, and that's why I knew it.
Oh yeah, probably, yeah. So yeah, those are generonyms. There's a lot more out there. So many. It's hard to track them all down, but those were just the ones that I could track down. How did you like my fun little quiz puzzle game?
I learned so much. I'm really frustrated at the zipper one. Both of the real names are bad.
Yeah, exactly. And I found that very often, that the generic term for these things was so bad that people would just gravitate to the brand name, which was designed to be catchy.
That's also what in language, when you find something that is either easier to do or easier to say or just easier in general, we tend to naturally lean towards that one. And languages that stay relevant and are not in danger of dying usually change to simplify all of the superfluous shit you don't need, because people end up streamlining it and testing out new words
Yeah.
and doing stuff. So it makes sense that if the original name fucking sucked, like people lifting, fizzy lifting, moving, people mover thing, and you could just say escalator. Oh, that's a nice one word. It escalates things.
Because could you imagine being like, hang on, I've got to go take the moving staircase upstairs so I can find a pair of shoes that have hook and loop tape. But before I do that, I've got to put my jacket on using this class blocker. Like, what year are you from?
In my jacket pocket, a facial tissue.
Facial tissue, yeah. Yeah, I've got to go do some washing at the laundry. And I was hoping to pick up some cereal at the store for my hiking trip. Yeah, it's very silly. So I've got another fun one here that I really like. This is kind of a less of an official one, but more of just someone who did these type of things really well. This is a yogism. Are you familiar with the term?
Like Yogi Bear?
Yogi Berra, who Yogi Bear is named after.
Oh, see.
Yeah.
I don't care about sports, but I do care. Okay. I do care about cartoon bears. So
same. I will say I care more about Yogi Bear than I do about Yogi Berra, but Yogi Berra said some fucking bangers. He did words real bad, real good, and I love that. Just to give you an example, there is one phrase that he said that is still a very common phrase, I would say. A yogism is defined as a unique and often contradictory phrase that is commonly associated with the baseball player Yogi Berra. The most common of these is probably, "It ain't over till it's over."
Oh, damn.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a yogism. And
cool.
Another one is, "It's deja vu all over again."
Oh my God. The day he said that, dads everywhere went, "Oh, I'm going to say that till the day I die."
These
and
are
the minute someone finds out they're going to be a father, they go, "Now I got to say these."
Yeah, dads love yogisms, y'all.
Dads love these. Yeah. Dads are wild about it.
Oh, yeah. The future ain't what it used to be.
I haven't heard that one.
No, this gets into the less common ones. But the future ain't what it used to be. I love it. It's so good. There's nobody goes there anymore. It's too crowded. And then there's a whole bunch more examples of these that are really good. One of my favorite ones is, "I didn't really say everything I said." And I believe he said that in an interview where he was being asked about yogisms. "I didn't really say everything I said."
That one sounds like it's used for gaslighting.
Honestly, these are very good. They're very funny. I didn't say that. Yeah. And it's funny because in an interview, he was just like, "Listen, I don't know where these come from. It's not on purpose. It's just how my brain do, y'all. People are calling them yogisms. It just comes out. It just happens."
That's really a mood for me. Yeah. If you listen to my other podcasts that we got, the things I write for y'all to say, sometimes I go, "Why did you do that? Why did you write that down, and why did that come from your brain? I don't understand how it happens." So, that's a mood. I don't control what this thing makes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've got another fun thing for you, which is an eggcorn.
Eggcorn.
I love an eggcorn. I have another little quiz for you here. This one's probably easy, but I think it's fun to do. I don't know. It's fun. I'm having fun with this little quiz format.
I love the quiz format. Also, eggcorn always sounds like it should be some like 50s soda shop drink I don't know about. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean?
Pour me a stiff eggcorn.
Yeah, pour me an eggcorn.
Or like, it sounds like some derivative of eggnog. Like you've hardened eggnog into some candy corn-like thing. I don't know. If you were to sit down for a tasty meal of eggcorns, what eggcorn might you say to someone? If you're sitting down to eat something.
I don't understand this question.
Okay. So you're sitting down to eat something with someone. It's a very common phrase that you say when you sit down to eat with someone. You're serving them a meal. So I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me define an eggcorn.
Bone apple teeth?
That's it. Bone apple teeth.
Okay.
An eggcorn is the alliteration. I almost did one. I almost did a goof 'em up. Look at me. An eggcorn is the alteration of a word or phrase through the mishearing or reinterpretation of one or more of its elements. So, as Brianne pointed out, bone apple teeth is sometimes said instead of bon appetit.
There's one in Spanish that my family really liked to do, that instead of saying de nada, to say you're welcome, you'd say de nalgas. And nalga is like a butt cheek.
Oh, that's a huevo corn. Isn't it huevo egg or is that ball?
Oh, huevo. Okay.
Huevo corn.
Huevo
It's
corn.
an egg corn.
Yeah.
Let's say you meet an older person and they're having some memory issues. What do they have?
Old-timers disease?
Old-timers disease. That's correct. Yes.
Yes.
Instead of Alzheimer's disease. This is one where I actually, as a child, thought it was called
a
Alzheimer's
real
disease.
thing. Yes,
Yeah,
I did
I thought it was
too.
I thought that was the name of the disease. It was Old-timers disease.
Yep.
Yeah. If you were trying to cut to the heart of a matter and like say, really what we're talking about is XYZ, you might say what?
I'm not thinking of an eggcorn. I'm just thinking of sayings like, let's cut to the...
You're in the right ballpark.
Yeah, like let's cut to the chase.
You're
let's
in the
get
right
down
ballpark.
to brass tacks.
You're in the ballpark.
Let's suck today's dick. I don't...
For all intensive purposes.
Oh, okay,
For all
okay.
intensive purposes.
Yes. Your setup did not lead me to think of that at all.
I was pretty vague. Sorry, I should have given more hints. But for all intents and purposes.
That is one people fuck up constantly.
Constantly, all the time. People are just really down in these eggcorns. They go to town on these things.
Delicious.
But yeah, for all intensive purposes. It's a very silly one. This is one that I found while researching this, and I found it very funny. And I'm going to start saying it because I think it's very funny. What do you call it if you can't drink milk because it makes you shit real bad?
Oh, lactose intolerant. And then that would be...
But what's the eggcorn form of that?
I'm trying to think of lactose? Toast intolerant?
So it's the full lactose intolerant. You've got the lactose. Lactose, that's correct. What's the latter half?
Lactose. I have no idea.
And tolerant.
Lactose intolerant. Oh my God.
Yeah, I can't drink that. I lactose intolerant.
I have no bread and I'm extremely intolerant.
Of milk.
Of milk, yes.
I've never heard this said out loud by a human being in all seriousness. I haven't either,
but that's really funny.
I would love to. I have one here that's going to blow your mind because we have both said this incorrectly, and I think most people say this incorrectly to where it's almost no longer an eggcorn. It's just the word people use for it. So if you are someone who goes to a place where people play cards or a poker night or something like that, and you continuously win a lot of money because you're very good at cards, what are you?
A card shark?
That is an eggcorn.
Whoa. I don't even think that would qualify as an eggcorn anymore because I don't know. I've read that in books.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's wild. The actual term is card sharp, like a sharp knife. You are a card sharp. That is the real term.
I think that has moved on from being an eggcorn, honestly. I don't think that belongs on the list anymore.
Yeah, no. I think it was an eggcorn at one point, but...
For a while, but I don't think it is anymore. That's interesting.
Yeah, because you used to be able to say someone is very card sharp, and that evolved into saying someone is a card sharp, and then eventually a card shark, because it was misheard.
And it's a shark, it's cooler, so...
Yeah, it's cooler, yeah.
Why wouldn't I want to be a shark at poker?
Yeah,
cool. You called me a shark. Thank you.
So yeah, those are eggcorns. I know you got excited when I mentioned mondegreens.
I don't know what that is. That's why I'm excited. I have no fucking clue, and that's a good name.
Yeah. So this is very similar to an eggcorn, but it is a mishearing or misinterpretation of a phrase in a way that gives it a new meaning. The most common example of this is you heard a song lyric wrong.
Okay.
Yeah. It sounds like something else, and it has an entirely different meaning because you thought you heard one thing with an entirely different meaning. It's so like meaning.
the way that James used to think as a kid that Waterfalls by TLC was singing Go Go Jason Waterfalls.
Yes. That is a mondegreen.
That's all I hear now if I hear that song is James's interpretation as a kid where he thought it was just them going, hey, go, Jason Waterfalls.
Yes. Yeah, honestly, it's real good. All of the examples that I have of mondegreens are from songs, because that's just the most common example of them. The first one that I have is from the band Creedence Clearwater Revival, the song Bad Moon Rising. There is the line, there's a bad moon on the rise. People often hear that as there's a bathroom on the right.
What?
Yep.
The song is called Bad Moon Rising. I don't think they're giving you instructions to El Baño.
Well, you'll have to ask Jason Waterfalls about that one.
I don't understand that one. But okay. I don't understand how people are messing that one up because it's literally in the name of the song. So I would go, They probably said bad moon instead of bathroom, huh?
I feel you. Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%. Purple Haze by Jimi Hendrix. There is the lyrics, excuse me while I kiss the sky.
I know some people here kiss this guy.
That's the one. Yep.
That's
very,
the one.
very common mondegreen.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a common mondegreen. Bruce Springsteen, Blinded by the Light, cover of the song by the Manfred Mann's Earth Band. You know the line, revved up like a deuce?
Oh, yeah, it sounds like douche.
Yeah, wrapped up like a douche.
He sang it bad.
He sang it bad,
I'm gonna give people a minute because he just sang that bad.
Yep.
It sounds like he's saying wrapped up like a douche.
Yeah. Hey, Bruce, leave it to Manfred Mann and his Earth Band, okay? Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit, often is heard, and they do mumble a lot, so I can't blame people too much, as here we are now in containers.
Yeah, I can see how that one happened. Yeah, that one I see how that happened.
The one that I can't see quite as much is the here we are now hot potatoes.
No, that's silly goose behavior.
It's really, it seems like silly goose behavior. But yeah, spoonerism. You know what a spoonerism is, right?
I remember the name. I do not remember which specific thing it is.
I love spoonerisms. I say them sometimes by accident, but very often I will, kind of like a verbal stim, will say things like when I'm talking to myself, or just like if there's a verbal stim that I already have, I will spoonerize it to kind of mix it up for myself. I don't know why, but my brain just really likes spoonerisms. A spoonerism is an occurrence of speech in which corresponding consonants, vowels, or morphemes are switched between two words of a phrase. I know that's a lot. Bear with me.
Yes.
Yeah. So there is a related concept of
Pobity's nerfect.
Pobity's nerfect, exactly. What you've done there is called metathesis, which means to put a part of a word in a different order. Yep. So when you make a phrase, the phrase is called a spoonerism. The act of making a spoonerism... Metathesis. I wasn't sure if it was metathesis or metathesis, but yeah, metathesis, which I think is really cool. I've got some examples. There was apparently a toast at some point for Queen Victoria, and somebody said, 3 cheers for our queer old dean.
that belongs on an episode of Community.
Yeah, honestly, that's really good. Yeah. For those who don't know, they meant dear old queen instead of queer old dean, which is very good. The Lord is a shoving leopard.
Sometimes he'd be like that.
Yeah, sometimes he's a loving shepherd, and sometimes he's a shoving leopard. How high are you?
I do have my vape on me, so.
Yeah. How high are you? That's a very common joke amongst people that are high.
After hitting the Benjamin, I'm at like a 3 out of 10, so.
Oh, there you go. Okay. There's a lot of literature that uses spoonerisms in a lot of funny ways or just fun ways. Shel Silverstein has a book called Runny Babbitt, a Billy Sook, which I think is very fun. There is a poem called Translation by Brian P. Cleary, which describes a boy named Alex who speaks only in spoonerisms, which I think is very fun. There's a line from here that I've kind of copied that says, he once proclaimed, "Hey, belly jeans," when he found a stash of jelly beans. But when he says... Cute. But when he says he pepped in stew, we tell him he should wipe his shoe.
Oh, that's cute.
It's very cute. Yeah. He pepped in stew.
Kids are really prone to spoonerisms.
I can imagine that. I think I did a lot of them when I was a kid. It makes a lot of sense. I love a good spoonerism. And then the last thing I want to talk about is malaphors, which is I love a malaphor. Among all of these things, I think they're one of my favorites. It is something that is very easy, I think, to do wrong, because you can do a malaphor in a way that doesn't make sense. But when you get a malaphor where you can clearly identify all of the constituent components of a malaphor, it's lovely. But what is a malaphor? A malaphor is a blend of two or more idioms or aphorisms, producing an often nonsensical or comedic result. They are also known as a dogberryism.
Whoa.
Yeah, after Lord Dundreary, who is a foolish aristocrat in the play Our American Cousin from 1858.
Our American Cousin.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't Google that one any further. I was like, that's fine. One thing to note is this involves either an idiom or an aphorism, or both. You can combine the two and it still works. An idiom is a phrase or expression that has a meaning that can't be understood just by looking at the meaning of the individual words in the phrase. That is the definition of an idiom, right? An aphorism is a pithy observation that contains a general truth, such as, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Okay.
Make sense?
Give me another example of an aphorism. It's just nonsense stuff, right? It seems like holistic nonsense that I'm like, ugh.
Kind of, yeah. I think aphorisms especially feel like holistic nonsense. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
That you can make him think.
Absolutely, you can. An idiom, let me get another example of an idiom here.
Yeah, my autism means I'm just inherently bad at idioms, so.
Yeah, so idioms are often shorter. It's like something that you say that is like, if you didn't know idioms, it would be like, why did they say that? Like, break a leg. This is a blessing in disguise. A dime a dozen. Beat around the bush by the skin of your teeth.
Okay, so like, I have had to look up every single idiom that I understand now. Do holistic people have to do that with all of them, or do they get a lot of it by context?
The second part. I have so rarely had to look up an idiom as an holistic person.
You do not know how many times I have been speaking to someone and either made a mental note or made a note in my phone to go look up what the fuck that idiom meant later. I do not get them, and it is very common for autistic people to have trouble with idioms, and in my autism assessment, they kind of asked about my relationship to idioms, and it was like, hold on, some people just get these, people just get these.
And for me, it's like the meaning is there, and I don't know how it got there, but the meaning is there for me. And I don't understand how it got there.
Subtext, yeah. That's the thing I do not have access to.
Do you have any examples of idioms that you don't know what they mean? I'm putting you on the spot for that, but...
No, because if I've heard the idiom and I didn't understand it, I looked it up. So they're not any that I'm holding on to. Or I'm like, I don't know what that means, because it would bother me enough that I'd go look it up.
There's some where I haven't had to look up the meaning, but I have had to look up where it came from, because I was like, what the fuck does that mean? I also had to look up hit the sack. This comes from the fact that pillows used to just be bags full of straw.
Yeah, hit the hay also does, because mattresses used to be filled with hay.
Yep, exactly. Bite the bullet, I don't remember. I did look that one up at one point, but I don't exactly remember where that came from. But I think...
Isn't that what the guy who sucks? Isn't that what the guy on Twin Peaks who sucks on dominoes says a lot? No, that's the French dude at the bar. The French Canadian dude at the bar is like, "That's a bullet."
Yeah.
It makes me think of Twin Peaks.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, there's so many idioms out there that's like, why do we even say that? Like, a penny for your thoughts.
Yeah.
The meaning is that there is, I want to know what you're thinking, but we just say a penny for your thoughts instead.
Like I'm gonna pay you for it.
Yeah, it's just weird. At the drop of a hat.
That one I don't. I understand it. Like I use it because I learned it, and I understand people say that. Don't know where that one came from.
I think it's just referring to the time it takes for a hat to fall on the ground.
What if it's a wide brim hat and the wind has caught it? It could fly for miles.
There's so many situations. Like, have you ever heard of Odd Job? Like, get with the times, man.
Yeah, have you heard of Odd Job?
Like, who throws a hat? This guy. Clearly. Yeah, he'll be there at the drop of a hat on a guy's neck. Like
the drop of your head.
Come on. The drop of your head. Yeah, anyway.
Some of them are very funny to me too, because they sound like they should be about something entirely different. Like, I think I was telling you the
Yeah.
other day, I think it's so weird that the phrase whole hog isn't about a penis. Like, people just
Yeah.
say, yeah, I really went whole hog. And I'm like, I don't need to hear about that. People understand the idiom so much that I'm just sound weird and I'm not funny. But that one just sounds like it should be about a dick.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, at this point, I associate
Like-
the term hog with penis. So
Yeah. Like, it seems like that one should be like, how did your date go? It was the third date. Did you all sleep together? It's like, oh, we went whole hog.
an aphorism, though, I looked up a few more examples. We've got stuff like a jack of all trades is master of none. Actions speak louder than words. An apple a day keeps the doctor away.
A stitch in time saves 9. A lot of these are Benjamin Franklin, too. A lot of the modern ones we have, if I remember correctly, that motherfucker was like, I'm going to crank these things out.
Yeah, no, he loved them. Yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing about these is so often they are not true and detrimental if you were to actually literally follow the advice.
Well, and also as an autistic kid, you hear some of these and you're like, okay, I'm going to live my life by this. Honesty is the best policy. They don't mean all the time, baby girl.
Yeah.
They
It's
definitely
not the best
don't
policy.
mean. They definitely don't mean all the time. I personally think it's the best policy. You know, but when you're an autistic kid, you're like, I gotta tell the truth about all of it. And they're like, no, not like that.
I mean, it's not the best policy because people will get mad at you if you do that.
Yeah,
not that
yeah,
it's
they
not the
hate
right
it.
thing. An apple a day keeps the doctors away. Hey, apples have a lot of sugar. And hey, what if you're diabetic? Maybe don't have an
Okay.
apple a day.
Okay, you can have an apple. An apple has got fiber and water and a bunch of other things.
Okay, well,
You're fine.
I can have an apple, but what if you're allergic?
Okay, well then don't eat an apple if you're allergic to apples.
Every cloud has a silver lining. Nuh-uh. It's simply not true. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. Why not?
I'll count them all day.
Yeah. Also, chickens don't hatch. Eggs do, motherfucker. Sorry,
Wow,
I got real hot on that one. I don't know.
Violet's fighting for Team Autism today.
Yeah, no, I'll always have, always will. Absolutely.
In the war on autism, she's on autism's side right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I've been conscripted. Now we get into malaphors. It's where you take a part of a little column A, a little column B, sometimes a little column C, and you smush them together to make something funny. I have a whole bunch of examples of these that I really, really like. I tried to pick the ones that were my favorite because you can probably do this. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't look it in the mouth.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm losing my bananas. That's a mix of I'm going bananas and I'm losing my mind.
See, that still tells me what's happening.
I've got too much on my hands.
That also makes sense, because what if you're carrying too much?
Yeah, yeah. Easy as cake.
Yeah.
It's a piece of cake. Easy as cake.
Yep.
It's so good. That would throw me for a curveball.
Throw me for a curveball? Is it that would throw me off and that you threw me a curveball?
Throw me for a loop and threw me a curveball.
for a loop and then a curveball.
Yeah. I'm understanding the ropes.
That sounds like someone who just learned English who's trying to use that. That's how I feel when I try to use these things like in Spanish and I'm just not good at them.
Now you're cooking with elbow grease.
That one, I swear, it sounds Southern.
Yeah, it really does. Now you're cooking with elbow grease.
Now you're cooking with elbow grease, baby.
I'm going to start saying that one, honestly. Like, it's real good. There is Stop Dancing Around the Bush. That one I read. It just sounds funny. Grasping at the...
sounds like someone doing some ritualistic dance around someone's pubes.
Inhumanely possible. That one's kind of a little bit of a...
Yeah, that sounds like an eggcorn.
Yeah. That's a bit of an eggcorn, honestly. But
my favorite ones are the ones about leaving. Like, well, I'm going to make like a tree and split.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to make like a leaf and head out. And like those.
Yes.
Those are my
all
favorites.
very good. Yeah. So yeah, there's lots of malaphors out there. They're so good. That's what I want to talk about, really. All the different ways that you can do words bad for fun and profit.
Yeah, I don't quite know how you profit on that, but...
Well, it depends on how you spell profit, is really, what it comes down to.
Oh, you start a cult about it.
Yeah, exactly. For fun and profit, PROPHET. So,
well,
yeah.
For all intensive purposes, I think we have really hit the nail straight down the middle, and I put my whole hog into this episode.
Yeah, I really feel like we knocked this one into the forest and the trees.
Yeah, I really think we did. So, anyway, thank you for that. I think it's time that we make like a baby and get the fuck out of here. Hi, it's me, here to thank our Patreon supporters, Dave Perrell, Steve Hernacki, Megan E., Carl Brooks, Natasha Neves, Lace Ann, Gus, Lutzi, Helen Clifford, Beach Hostler, Kelly Brennan, Sewing Seraph, Rachel Rachelson, Fintago, and Randy Lovings. Also, please check out the show details to see if you are in a place to help out our friend Wolf. Wolf needs some mutual aid. He is a multiply disabled, trans, autistic person trying to get through a rough patch after having his abilities basically reduced because of long COVID and work abilities. And they also went through a divorce, which is incredibly expensive. So if you want to do something that will tangibly help someone out, please go to the show details where there is a link to see where you can help our friend Wolf out. And apart from that, you know the usual. If you want to help us out and you want to support the show, the best way you can do it is telling other people about the show. Do it on your favorite subreddit where it seems applicable. Do it in a Facebook group. Tell everyone on Blue Sky about it, which we're on Blue Sky. I'm on Blue Sky too. I don't think I've actually added that to my social media stuff, but it's just AuDHD Brie on Blue Sky. Come follow me. I'll go follow you. But anyway, all of that to say, you want to see what we're up to on social media, go see the show details. If you're in a place to help us out financially, please check out the show details to see a link to our Patreon page, where you get bonus material for all of the shows we do now and anything we're doing in the future and any bonus materials we have. And if you want to come hang out with us, you don't even have to support us on Patreon. Go to the show details to get a link to our Discord server where you can hang out. We have really fun Stitch and Bitch time every week where we do crafts together. We yesterday had a Jackbox game night and we played games. It's lots of fun. But I think that is all I have for you, buds. Until next time, clever sign off.